Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's Konflikt 47 episode, we are going to be talking all about powered armor. Whether you are a Konflikt 47 OG veteran or you are someone brand new to the game, you're going to want to get to grips with powered armor. It has changed a little bit from first edition, and in my opinion, it's much improved. It's definitely something you're going to want to consider putting in your army and getting to grips with, because when used properly, powered armor troops are an incredible force on the battlefield. So with all of that said, let's not mess around any further. Let's suit up and march right into this thing. Achtung, conscripts! Warlord Games is now an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. And not only that, they have given me an affiliate link which I have popped down in the description below. By using that link, you can get your hands on some awesome World War II bolt action miniatures and at the same time support the Mordian Glory channel.
Bring it to me, Fagerite! 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 Fagerite!
You have all of ideas, so what are you waiting for? Do the right thing and buy yourself some bolt action today. So the first thing to be aware of is every one of the major nations has access to powered armor. So no one is being left behind. Whether it's the Japanese assault frames or the giant Axis style trooping, everyone can outfit their troops with this stuff. I do think it is important to point that out because, especially if you're a new player who's trying to decide which faction they want to get into, powered armor might really be a deciding factor. And you might hesitate to get one faction if you think it's not going to get powered armor. Like I said, don't worry, everybody gets to play with this cool toy. Now, at a very high level, the purpose of powered armor is to make your infantry tougher and to allow them to wield heavier weapons. That's fairly obvious. So now let us get down into the nitty gritty. And the first thing you're going to want to know is that there are now two kinds of powered armor. You have got heavy powered armor and you've got augmented armor. Starting off with heavy powered armor, this is pretty straightforward. It's essentially a suit of almost like plate armor that has been motorized and it's designed to give your guy a bit more protection and a little bit of enhanced strength. But augmented armor is a whole nother level. Augmented power armor is essentially mini tanks walking around. If you're a Warhammer 40k player coming into this game, the best way of looking at this is heavy powered armor is like a tactical marine, like an intercessor, like a sister of battle. Augmented armor is like a Terminator. So what are the actual bonuses of powered armor, and specifically what are the differences between heavy and augmented? Well, both sets of power armor are going to give you a bonus to your weapon handling. A model with heavy powered armor ignores the team weapon special rule for any weapons it carries. Essentially, if you've got someone in heavy power armor and they've got an LMG, they don't need a loader. They'll still move and shoot and suffer a -1 to hit penalty. They just don't need that loader. They've got it on their arm, they're able to shoot the LMG, and they can just pull off an extra drum mag, slap it on top and keep shooting. A model with augmented power armor ignores the team weapons, so they don't need a loader, and the fixed special rule for any weapons it carries. And in the rulebook, there's a really good example of what this means in practical terms, so you can kind of visualize and understand the differences between these armors. This means that lone soldiers in heavy powered armor can use weapons like LMGs, bazookas, and flamethrowers without penalty, and augmented power armor can wield MMGs, HMGs, and light artillery with the ease of rifles. If you want an example of the difference between heavy power armor and augmented power armor, think about the British Galahad power armor. That guy is armed with an LMG. That is heavy power armor. He can walk around, he can shoot the LMG, he doesn't need a loader. But then if you want an example of augmented power armor, think of the Axis style trooping. Now the style trooping comes with, one of the options it comes with, is a light anti-tank gun. Normally this is a weapon which requires a 3-man crew and it cannot move and shoot. It's a fixed team weapon. The style trooper is able to wield that light anti-tank gun completely on his own. And unlike a traditional fixed anti-tank gun, crude, like a 25-pounder or the door knocker, he can move and shoot with it. So augmented power armor really is a step above. But it's not just your weapon handling which gets better with powered armor. Of course, it's armor, so it's going to protect you as well. And understanding the different levels of protection that power armor gives you is very simple. If you're wearing heavy power armor, your damage value increases by +1. If you are wearing augmented power armor, then your damage value increases by +2. If you're someone who's coming over to Konflikt 47/bolt action for the first time, you might not understand how damage value works. Especially if you're a 40k player, the idea of getting a +1 when it comes to wounding seems like a bad thing, right? How wounding works in bolt action /Konflikt 47 is instead of being called to wound, it's called to damage. And your damage value is what the enemy needs to roll to hurt you. So if I have a soldier whose damage value 4+, then when you roll your, let's use a 40k term, to wound dice, you would need to roll a 4+ to wound me. Now this can be increased or decreased, that this dice roll can be modified depending on your weapon's penetration value. So for example, if you are someone who's got a heavy machine gun, you'll have +1 to your damage roll, which means when you roll the dice, you roll a 3. That wouldn't normally wound my guy who needs a 4+ to be wounded, but because you get +1 to your wound roll from your weapon, it goes up to a 4, so now you've wounded me. The same kind of logic applies to powered armor and how they increase your damage value. So if I have a regular soldier and I put him in powered armor, I get +1 to my damage value. So instead of needing a 4 to wound me, you now need a 5 to wound me. It might sound a little bit crazy at first, but we're not really comparing weapon strengths to toughness like you do in 40k, but instead every unit has a fixed damage value, and that can be modified depending on what armor they're wearing or depending what weapon is shooting at them. It's kind of like how in 40k you have a set to hit value. If you're a Space Marine, you pretty much always hit on 3s. If you're a Guardsman, you pretty much always hit on a 4+. Take that similar sort of logic and also apply it to how wounding things works, and you're not going to be too far off. If you're an OG Konflikt player, one of the big changes you're going to have to get used to is the fact that power armor is not just limited to veteran units now. In editions gone by, only veterans could take power armor, and all power armor was under one umbrella. You didn't have heavy and augmented, you just had powered armor. And essentially wearing powered armor meant you could only be wounded on a 6. That has now changed, and this is why we have got this damage value +1 and +2 system, because you can have an inexperienced soldier who normally has a damage value of 3, put him in augmented power armor, and he'll go up to being as tough as a veteran. So the person wearing the power armor now really matters, because, as some of you may have worked out, if you are a veteran soldier who normally can only be wounded on a 5+, that's their damage value, and then you put them in augmented power armor, that is going to give them a damage value of 7+. But you can't roll a 7 on a d6 dice. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you cannot be wounded by small arms fire. If a weapon shooting at you does not have a pen value, then you are basically immune to that shot. And furthermore, unless the enemy can penetrate your armor, they can't apply a pin to you. So yes, that means, for example, some veteran German style Truppen would be immune to all small arms fire from things like Mosin Nagants, Lee Enfields, Garands, MMGs, LMGs. You need at least an HMG to start hurting these guys and also pinning them. If you are a bolt action and existing Konflikt player, you will know how huge that is, because pins are a fundamental mechanic of this game, and often tough units, if they can't be hurt, they can be pinned out. This is going to be really difficult to do against augmented armor. If you are someone who's coming over to this game fresh, whether you're, like, let's say a 40k player, for example, the more that you shoot a unit, the more pins that it accumulates. The more pins that it has on it, the less likely it is going to do as it is told. If you've got a unit which is being shot at from all different sides, even if they are not taking that many casualties, they're probably not going to want to put the heads above the parapet and start running around. So pins are a great way of how you can influence the battlefield and actually do stuff to your opponent's units, even if you're struggling to actually damage them. Typically what you'll find is you're never going to come out of shooting an enemy unit without at least something, unless you're very unlucky. That's usually the case, but then obviously if you've got things like these augmented guys, they're going to be very difficult to pin unless you've got the right tools for the job. A great way of thinking about it is this. Imagine if your Terminators couldn't be wounded by lasgun fire or bolter fire. Imagine if your Terminators could only be wounded, you only got a chance to roll to wound against them if you had at least AP1 or better on your weapons in 40k. Now how that would be a really spicy upgrade, wouldn't it? Well, it's pretty spicy here too. Long story short, if you're a Warhammer 40k player who likes the idea of Terminators striding through a storm of small arms fire, being unable to be hurt by it as they scythe down all the enemies in front of them, then consider having a look at some augmented power armor in Konflikt 47. It might just tickle your fancy. Now that covers the basics of powered armor. It makes you tougher, it makes you handle weapons better. But there are two other things that I think are worth your time. Firstly, powered armor is quite resistant to shaped charges. This is things like Panzerfaust, RPGs, and bazookas. When shooting a shaped charge at a powered armor or walker, you have to halve the pen value rounding up. So instead of getting +6 to your damage value, to read it from the rulebook, advanced lightweight armor incorporated into powered armor and walkers has proven well able to absorb hits from shaped charge weapons with considerably less damage. Halve the pen value, rounding up, of shaped charge weapons when rolling to damage walkers and powered armor. Vehicles that have upgraded their tracks to legs do not benefit from this rule, so you have to be a proper walker. Now we'll leave the stuff about walkers for now, that will come in a later video, but that thing about halving the pen against powered armor is huge. Things like Panzerfaust are normally pen +6, which will allow you to wound even an augmented veteran on a 2+ if you shot it. Now, if you shoot something like a Panzerfaust or a bazooka at an augmented power armored veteran, you've only got a 50-50 chance of actually damaging them. That's really big. That's really big. Powered armor is tough. And the last thing I want to mention is some powered armored models also benefit from the large special rule. For example, the Axis Style Trooper have the large keyword. It is important to note that not all powered armor is going to make you large, so make sure you're checking your unit entry to see if you do have this rule. But what large does is it means you take up 2 slots in a transport vehicle, which is fair enough, but most importantly, and I think something that is very, very, very important to be aware of, in a close assault against a defended obstacle or an occupied building, the defenders cannot benefit from the defensive position bonus against large models, as they are deemed powerful enough to simply smash straight through such defenses. That's right, one of the biggest issues in Bolt Action version 3, assault and defended positions, has been solved by large units, including some powered armors. This is going to completely open assault back up and is going to make melee feel as gruesome and visceral and powerful as it should do. Look, at the end of the day, if you're hiding behind a small stone wall or you're hiding inside of a small house, that ain't going to stop a Style Trooper from just barreling through that entire thing. He's not going to try and fight his way through the door and you're going to have a choke point to defend. He's going to make the goddamn door. I love it. Flavorful, makes sense, immersive, but also very important tactically on the battlefield. Quick side note here, I've been talking to a few competitive bolt action players about Konflikt and the new rules, and many of them are very excited about this large rule and the fact that you can get it fairly easily on some forms of power armor and other troops as well. Assault is cool. Everyone loves a good bayonet charge, and it's one of the things that has kind of been a bit tricky. I might even say balked in Bolt Action 3rd edition. There's been a bit of an issue with veterans just being stuck behind cover, just not being able to dig them out, and assault, which would normally be something that would allow you to do that, just not functioning the way you want it to. Konflikt 47 has clearly seen some of those issues in Bolt Action V3 and has gone, okay, what tools can we put in players' toolbox to solve the issue and to open assault back up? I absolutely love that. It shows that lessons are being learned and are being applied. But you know what? I think that just about covers everything you need to know about the basics of powered armor in Konflikt 47. And I'm just going to be honest, I really like it. I think it's really cool. I think it's very unique between the different nations. And I think it's going to provide some very, very epic moments on the tabletop. A lot of the time we've been talking about like powered armor versus non-powered armor troops, but I think it's going to start getting real spicy when you have power armor on power armor. And the possibility of being able to upgrade basic infantry with powered armor opens up a whole world of opportunities. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you excited for powered armor? If so, which one do you think is going to be the coolest and the best? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.